No DQ Galaxy. We are live with a very special Saturday night recap of AEW Collision. It's special at this point because I haven't been following Collision much as of late, and sometimes you have a WWE Premium Live event up against Collision, and for whatever reason, I'm unable to check it out. But I'm here tonight to discuss the show. Nothing else going on, so let's talk about it. We had some more matches in the Continental Classic tournament. We had our cold open promos at the beginning, and then we had our first tournament match, Claudio versus Brody King. Solid match here with these guys, two bigger men trying to take each other down with clotheslines, with kicks. They gave each other a double clothesline, not the MJF and Adam Cole move, just clotheslining each other. Claudio was able to slam Brody, and then both of them fought on the outside of the ring for a bit. They got back in. Claudio actually launched up Brody in the air, hit him with an uppercut, but Brody kicked out of it. Claudio managed to do the big swing. And thank you, TJS. I accidentally left the SmackDown background on. I'm screwing up like crazy. One episode I had 2024. We are live, and obviously I cannot tell the difference between the SmackDown background and the AEW background. Anyways, we fixed that. Thank you for that, TJS. Botchamania here on the No DQ live stream. Claudio did do the big swing to Brody and then applied the sharpshooter, but Brody was able to get to the rope, and then Claudio hit a DVD on Brody. Brody kicked out at one. Brody managed to catch Claudio coming off the ropes, hit him with a pile driver. Claudio kicked out, and then Brody hit a lariat and got the 1-2-3 victory over the veteran Claudio to get 3 points in the Continental Classic tournament. Match was pretty solid. Good match here with these guys, and Brody King picks up a little bit of momentum in the tournament. I still don't see him winning, but nice showing for him. We had a Jon Moxley promo about the tournament, and he said that maybe the last 4 years have been catching up with him. He said that he is going to give every ounce of himself to win the tournament. Then we had our women's match of the evening, not 9:15 to 9:30. They had this in the first hour. Abaddon versus Kiera Hogan. Basically a showcase match for Abaddon. They're pushing her right now. She picked up the win with her Black Dahlia finisher. And then after the match, the lights went out. Julia Hart, the TBS champion, was in the ring. And then the lights went out and she disappeared. So we got the two scary characters going at it here at some point, building up something with them. We had Roderick Strong backstage approaching Samoa Joe and said that he could forgive Joe for breaking his neck not once but twice. And then once again, talking about how MJF is the devil. Joe basically just laughed at Strong and walked away. We had Danny Garcia versus Andrade in another tournament match with Daddy Magic on commentary. He could do commentary, but no interference allowed. CJ Perry, who is managing Andrade, she went to the back. It was a competitive match with these two, and Andrade did manage to take a little break and a little cheap promotional plug for his father-in-law, Ric Flair's energy drink. Garcia came in with some rapid-fire punches and targeted the knee of Andrade, but Andrade was able to come back from that, did the three amigos. Garcia kicked out, and then Garcia applied a sharpshooter. Andrade escaped, hit the hammerlock DDT, and picked up the 1-2-3 victory. Another solid match here. Andrade wins. And then we had Willie Mack issuing a challenge to Wardlow because he wasn't happy with Wardlow destroying AR Fox on Dynamite. And spoiler alert, Willie Mack will suffer the same fate. Roderick Strong and the Kingdom came to the ring. Strong once again on the mic said that MJF is the devil. Samoa Joe is going to find out the hard way soon. And then we had the Kingdom versus the Iron Savages in what I would call a showcase match for the Kingdom. Very basic match here. Kingdom won with the Spike Pile Driver. We had Ethan Page cutting a backstage promo, and he's been regrouping. He's on a bit of a roll right now, and he issued a challenge to Kenny Omega this coming Wednesday in Montreal, Canada. Two Canadians going at it. He's not going to beat Kenny Omega, but it'll be an opportunity for him to get back on Dynamite. So there you go. We had a Toni Storm backstage interview with Renee Paquette. She did some trash talking about Sky Blue, talking about how people always say nice things about her, but that's just because basically they like taking pictures of her bottom. And then we had a promo from Sky Blue, and she said she's going to take Tony's shoe and shove it right up her ass this coming Wednesday on Dynamite. So we got a title match for Dynamite. We had Vikingo versus Kip Sabian, and it was what you would expect. Vikingo did a lot of flipping moves, a lot of splashes, 360, 630, all sorts of stuff. Hard to really care about a Kip Sabian match, though. I mean, it was hard to care about him in 2019 and even less so now. Showcase match here for Vikingo, and he did pick up the victory. And I think he was going for a handshake, but I'm not sure if Sabian was just walking away. But they cut away. They were teasing a handshake, and then we just cut away to Keith Lee, who was interrupted by Shane Taylor, and a match was set up for the Ring of Honor Final Battle pay-per-view. Don't care about that. Keith Lee's doing nothing, so they're just throwing him on the Ring of Honor show, whatever. And then Miro was backstage wanting to get into Andrade's locker room, but CJ Perry cooled him down, and Miro said he's not going to lay a hand on her client, so we'll see what happens with that. And we also had Malachi Black and Buddy Matthews against Christopher Daniels and Matt Sydal. Another showcase match. Malachi Black and Buddy Matthews are not losing to Daniels and Matt Sydal, but Sydal got in some offense, and it was pretty good when Sydal and Buddy were in there. They did some cool stuff. You know, both of them came off the top with Meteoras onto Malachi Black and Daniels at the same time. And then Sydal and Buddy traded some knee shots. Daniels tagged back in, and then he was in trouble. Sydal tried to come off the top, but Malachi Black caught him with a knee to the face. And then Malachi Black hit the Black Mass and got the win. After the match was over, FTR came out, and Malachi Black was trying to get them to join the group. But then when it was clear FTR was not going to do that, they took some cheap shots. They made Dax Harwood watch as Malachi delivered the Black Mass to Cash. And then Malachi got on the mic and said that nobody is coming out there to help FTR, you know, with CM Punk on, but didn't mention him. And Dax flipped off Malachi Black in an act of defiance before getting kicked by Black. And it looks like we might be getting this match maybe at World's End. But yeah, I know this will be a good match. Just really don't care about it too much. And then we had our main event of the evening, Bryan Danielson versus Eddie Kingston. Bryan's return match after suffering the broken orbital bone. He still has the big eye patch on. And a very good match here. No surprise. These guys are going to deliver. They had a feeling out process, and Bryan tried to chop Eddie Kingston. Eddie ended up firing back with a chop, sending Bryan right to the mat. Bryan kept trying, though. He would go after Eddie. Eddie would just absorb the punishment. Bryan did some of the kicks and then worked over Eddie for a while. They both ended up on the outside. Eddie delivered a back suplex to Bryan on the floor. And then after the break, Bryan came off the top with a drop kick, applied the label lock, but Eddie was able to escape. They started slapping each other on the mat, and Eddie got up, hit the spinning back fist. Bryan kicked out of that, and then Eddie started chopping Bryan pretty hard. Bryan got fired up. He started kicking Eddie again. Eddie got fired up. He went for another spinning back fist, but Bryan was able to avoid it. And we had about 5 minutes left at this point. Bryan was kicking Eddie's head in. He started to run out of energy, and then Eddie flipped him off. So Bryan took him down, finished him off with the running knee. 1, 2, 3. Bryan picks up the win. Good match here. I mean, this was the best thing on the show. Did not expect Bryan to lose, and he picks up another win in the tournament. So Eddie definitely does not have the momentum right now. We'll see where that goes. FTR was on the show with the House of Black. No Ricky Starks or Big Bill on this one. So this was my first Collision in several weeks. And I will say this, the wrestling is good, but unless you are a diehard wrestling fan, and I mean that in the sense of you got Raw, you got SmackDown, and you got Dynamite. You got 3 major shows during the week. That is 7 hours of wrestling. That's enough. There's literally no reason to watch this show unless you are the most hardcore of hardcore wrestling fans and you got nothing else to do on Saturday night. Like if you're bored, if you literally got nothing else to do, Collision's on, you'll get some good wrestling. Very little storyline development other than just they're doing the tournament matches and that's continuing. And they set up some stuff for Dynamite, which is shaping up to be a pretty big show. You got Adam Copeland versus Christian Cage for the TNT title, and you got more tournament matches. It's going to be in Montreal. First time in Montreal for AEW. That's going to be a big show. But this one, if you missed it, you really did not miss much. You could check out the main event, which was pretty good. And the rest of the show was solid enough, but a skippable show for the most part. I will go with a C+, mostly due to the main event. Other than that, a C or a C-, and not a bad show or anything, but I would say it's below par for AEW and below par for WWE for that matter. I mean, just an okay show when you got better shows to watch during the week. So it just doesn't really stand out. And, it's part of the problem with wrestling being oversaturated. It's good to have variety and have competition, but when you got too much, at some point you got to say, okay, priorities, got to pick and choose what to watch. And Collision, Rampage, they're going to be towards the bottom of the totem pole. You got Raw, SmackDown, and Dynamite, and then you got Collision, and then maybe Rampage, and then the other stuff, if you want to watch Impact Wrestling or New Japan or something else, AAA, whatever, there's just a lot. And you can only watch so much. There's only so many hours in the day, and people got other hobbies. They got other things they want to do on a Saturday night. And the show just doesn't feel like it's special. It does feel very much like WCW Thunder in 1999. When Thunder was still a decent wrestling show. Like, it got really bad in 2000. So I'm saying like 99, where you had some good wrestling, but absolutely no good reason to tune in. No big storyline, no top stars in a hot program. Just not much to it. So I'll be back at some point, but as you guys know, it's not a weekly thing for me. Collision either has WWE competition or something else is going on, or they're taping the show. So I don't recap every week. It's every now and then. Figured I'd tune in, see what's up, give you guys an update on the show for those of you that haven't been watching much or were maybe curious about Collision. It's okay, but not something you need to go out of your way to watch. That's my take on it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and vote in the No DQ year-end awards. And this Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, we'll be going over the year-end awards. I'll be doing my picks. Maybe I'll be joined by some people, maybe not. They got busy lives, so we'll see what happens. We'll see if I can get some people on. If not, it'll at least be me here on Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Have a great week, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll see you next time. Take care, everybody. Buy a shirt, nodq.com/merch, and I'll see you all next time.